All right, we're almost at the end of this drawing. This segment we're going to deal with the last diagonal. We're going to go from left to right this time. And again, I was told by somebody to face the camera when I talk more. So this time I'm going to make sure I look at the camera now and then. And I just want to make sure she's all set with us, right, Debbie? Okay, here we go. We're going to flip this on its side because I'm going to do the diagonal from left to right this time. It's awkward for me to do it the other way, so I'm going to do it this way this time. And the end result you'll see. And again, I'm going to start with line, bring it into stipple. We're almost done. We're going to start from the bottom up this time. We're working on the shoes because I flipped Butch on his side. Yeah, we could actually put more dark on the bottom of the drawing this way too. It makes more sense. We actually should put more weight on the bottom of this drawing. It makes more sense. If you didn't put more weight on the bottom, it wouldn't work as well. I'm going to put a little bit more shadow on these creases. Bring it up. You can see by the diagonal, that last diagonal makes such a difference. It adds just that little bit of weight. It'll make the whole thing. I really should, I made a mistake. I should actually have made this diagonal complete. And I'll show you what I mean. We're going to do that. Instead of leaving it there, I'm going to actually take it and complete the entire drawing with that diagonal. So here we go. It's going to be interesting. You're really going to fill the entire drawing with that last diagonal. It's going to be okay because you're still going to have, the pants are still going to be dark and light. It's just that certain areas are going to be very dark and certain areas are not going to be. I'm going to bring that to light now. So here we go. I think I might do this. Go from here. Leave some areas very light. Underneath the apron, we're really going to darken it up like crazy. No source of light there, so no need to make that area light. Makes sense, doesn't it? There we go. One leg is completely done. Let's go to the next one. Shoe. That part of the drawing is completely done. The only thing I could do now is put a little stipple here and there. This is what's involved with doing a caricature completely. It could be reduced down to any size now. Put color in here, it's going to look great. As far as I'm concerned, this is the way to do a caricature. Any other way is just you're cutting corners. I know it seems like a long time, but when you consider, if you were to take the amount of time I worked on this entirely, it's really only like 4 or 5 hours. That's actually short. I used to do a drawing like this every week at the Herald. I would do one a day, and that would be about 8 hours. So in hindsight, that's pretty much what this would be. I had to do three or four drawings a week sometimes, and it would average out to maybe 8 hours per caricature if I had to do it. Sometimes I'd take them home, pencil the idea for a while, play around, make it come to life. go to work the next day and spend a whole day inking it, sometimes a day and a half. Now, when I look back at some of those drawings, I'm amazed how bad they were. But you got to remember, number one, I was a lot younger then, and I had to do 3 or 4 a week. And when you think back to that, that's a lot of work. And I'm just amazed I pulled it off. 15 years of that. A lot of people could not. I'm amazed at myself. I really think that when you look back at that, I kept almost all my drawings from back then. It does come to an incredible amount. And I find myself just in amazement that number one, I kept them. Number two, I didn't go insane. I was lucky because that's the last generation of artists that really had to do that. I can't think that people do that anymore. I think they all work on computers now, and it's not as complicated. You just simply dash them out on a computer screen, and you have all these things that help you. I had nothing. I had a piece of paper and a pen and my bare thoughts, and it was hard. It was a challenge every week. It was very hard to actually have to do 3 or 4 drawings a week for 15 years, but I did it. And in the end, the age of computerization brought that to an end. I don't see too many pen and ink artists anymore. I see a lot of artists who do an occasional pen and ink, but they do it on a computer screen. And quite honestly, it's not the same. I know they would turn around and say, well, it's better. I guess so, but they don't have the same drawbacks I did. They didn't have the challenge, they didn't have the sweat of trying to figure out another idea they have a flood bank of ideas at their disposal. I didn't. I had to pretty much sweat out every idea. I had to work on every concept. I had to figure out every new way of approaching it. Those legs look good, if I don't say myself. Now, from this side, I'm going to do diagonals. I'm going to go this way, left to right, which is the exact opposite the other diagonal was. I'm going to cover up an entire section with diagonal. There's not going to be any light section on this left side, and that's correct, because let's face it, if a person is further away from me, that side is going to be darker. We're also going to do the same thing on the far right, or far left, as it may be. That would be here. We're going to bring this shadow from this side. The only thing left to do is stipple, and I'll probably do that at my leisure. Not much left to do. The great thing about this effect, and again, you don't see this done much anymore, it can be reduced to maybe 1/8 of its size, and it will maintain its dignity. It will not become clouded or muddy. If you do something in a different medium, let's say watercolor, they will not maintain its strength. It'll dissipate. It'll become cloudy. Now I'm putting a little stipple there. I noticed that there was a little area that was uneven. Stipple is a great solution to that. You just put a little set of dots in there, and all of a sudden the whole thing is rectified. Your mistake is suddenly perfect. So there are little cheat sheets. I don't like using whiteout or any of that. You'll never see a single drawing of mine with whiteout in it. I simply use this method, just a little bit of ink. Okay, we'll put a little bit more of this diagonal in these folds. This fold. And this fold. Now, same thing on this side. We're going to put shadow evenly on this particular area. We're going to make it underneath the arm. We're going to keep the area in the middle, light. That is the area closest to the viewer. Light has a better chance of infiltrating there. The left and right side, not so much. It's a rounded little bit of area, and as in most rounded areas, light will not hit it as much as it'll hit this area. Just a question of nature. Again, I'll use a little stipple to even out some of that. Stipple is just a set of dots that will just make everything homogenized and pleasing to the eye. That's what I'm doing, just a little bit of dots. Looking good. Underneath this arm, we're going to do another set of crosshatch diagonals, this time from left to right, exact opposite of what I had before. Shadow underneath the arm. You might say to yourself, boy, this is a lot of lines, but they're all crosshatch evenly spread. It will reduce nicely. A little bit more of crosshatch underneath the arm. The other question mark is the arms, because I put a nice thick line around each of them, they will maintain each other. They'll be fine. The bonsai plant's going to maintain itself too, because I didn't put a lot of crosshatch in it. It's going to look great. Okay, we're going to do this. I didn't put any diagonal on this part of the arm. We're going to do it right now. From underneath, especially. Let's go to this side. We did everything, and now we're going to work on this side. The depth is resolved because we're doing a different form of crosshatch. It's going from left to right this time. We already did the right to left. Now, on this side, we're going to put more crosshatch underneath that arm. It'll be really nice. I did the right to left. Now we'll do the left to right on the arm. Looking good. I could always put a little stipple in there later on. That will only make the shadow under the arm more noticeable. It's going to be nice. Again, no, I think that's okay. We'll do a little bit on this side. A little bit of shadow underneath this particular shirt, a little bit of stipple if it looks awkward. I could do this. When I get to a point, I'll do stipple, 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 line, stipple, stipple, line. Looking good. Same thing here. The strap to his shirt, looking good. We're going to do this. We're going to bring it down a little bit more. This is the shirt. We did the apron, now we do the shirt. Obviously, there's no light source underneath his head, so we're going to do a little bit of stipple there. Thank God for stipple. It's a great rectifier for any mistake you make. Okay, we have this side left. This is the one side I don't think we addressed too much. We're going to do it now. Likewise, underneath his neck, we didn't do anything there underneath his head, so we're going to do that now. We're also going to turn this upside right now. So watch out. We're going to do that right now. Looking good. Stipple, the magic stipple. I think the only thing I really have to do now that I have this facing me. I can see the little areas that need some work. A little bit of vertical. That's the one thing I didn't do, you know. I did vertical on the shadow underneath. Only time you use vertical if you really want a dark coat, and that's the last thing. A little bit of vertical. I put vertical underneath that shadow. I didn't put it anywhere else, but I'm going to do it right now. That is absolutely the last thing. And you only put it where you really want a dramatic shadow to come, to unfold. Underneath his neck, we didn't do it at all. We're going to make that dark. Very good. Stipple. It will not hurt once you reduce this. If anything, it might be a little bit darker, but it's not a problem. Again, a little bit of vertical. The last thing I'm going to do is sign this. And I have a new way of signing, which I only do for, well, I've been doing it for a lot of my paintings, but I guess I should do for caricatures now too. I kind of like the way that Norman Rockwell signed his pieces. When I'm done, I'll do it. I came up with my own little spin on his work. I love Norman Rockwell. He's my favorite painter. And I only wish I could be in that, as close to him as possible. He was the best. So I kind of wish I was that good. Okay, here we go with more vertical. Again, I'm only using this when I want really super dark. I think this is turning out to be one of my best caricatures. Really, really looks good. We'll put a little vertical here. If anybody's interested in taking a class with me, I teach a class at the, it's a little place on 73 East Main Street in Plainville. It's the Farmington River School of Art. I teach there every Sunday. And again, I teach painting, drawing, pen and ink, whatever you wish. Subject matter is pretty much up to the artist, the discretion of what they want to do. If you want to do something like this, you want to do a family member, no problem. I love doing that. Excellent. Stipple. Stipple only to rectify a lot of these smudges. And it's coming out good. That's going to be great. The same thing here, a little vertical. This is the darkest area of the whole caricature. I want to maintain that darkness. If I didn't do this, it would look awkward. In other words, if you didn't make this darker than what it is, and everything else was even, it would look odd. We're going to do the same thing underneath the apron. A little bit of vertical. There's no source of light underneath here, so this is justified. I put shadow underneath his feet. That makes total sense. Okay. I like the fact that we kept the integrity of all this. There's not one part of this that doesn't make sense as far as that's concerned. We're also, at this point, I have to go to the other pen because the other one just dried up. We could put a little shadow here. I hinted at it with a pencil, and I think what I'm going to do now is actually complete that. It doesn't make sense not to have a little shadow on this side. You can actually see what was involved with it. I'm going to put in the layers. That was horizontal, diagonal, other diagonal, and a vertical. The only thing I didn't do. All right, looking good. I think I'll sign it. And again, I'll show you exactly how it goes. I'll do my full name, my last name. And I'm going to try to do it the way I do it for all my paintings. I go with Novak first. Do a little bit of a loop on it. I do a lot of, I can do calligraphy. I'm very good at it. I actually should make this a little bit cleaner. But for now, for this particular class, I'm making it as, unfortunately, sloppy looking. An N. I'll darken this up when I have the time. The key is to stick my first name in between all these. I'm going to wait until it dries a bit. And there we go. I'm going to put my first name in the middle of all this. Hopefully it'll work. I'll probably redo this when I get a chance. And there we go, George. That's the way Norman Rockwell used to sign his. I wish I was as good, so I emulate him in that sense. When I get home, when I have a chance, I'll probably clean this up a bit. All right, now comes the stipple part. I always sign my name in the lower left-hand corner. In homage to the way most of the masters did it, I like it. Now, some guys paint their name anywhere. Fine with me. I have no problem with that. I like it there, in homage to the way things are done. Okay, let's do a little bit more of the vertical. I think this is a lot of fun. I'm glad that this one turned out good. It'd be horrible. I hate when artists do a caricature and it has no similarity to who they're doing, but I think this one is perfectly Butch. I think I captured not only his appearance, but I think I captured a little bit of his attitude, which is really good. Always try to get if you're doing a caricature, always try to get not just the likeness, but try to get his spirit. And I think I did that. A little bit of vertical here. Now, most guys, when they sign a drawing or a painting, they're really flamboyant with their names. I'm not that flamboyant. If it's readable, that's good enough. And I think it'll do it. A little bit of vertical on this side. Just enough to shadow to make the darkness hold up. I could always do stipple on this side to justify it too. Well, again, I think I did a pretty good job on good old Butch. I'm happy. It's going to turn out good. We could put a little bit of something here on the actual fold of the shirt. I kind of did it roughly, and I'm going to make up for it now. A little bit of darkness here, a little bit of shade. I'm going to work a little bit on the bonsai plant at home when I have a minute, but I think for the most part I'm very happy. For one thing, you can tell it's a bonsai plant, not some sort of sumac. It looks good. A little bit of stipple. Now comes the time for stipple. Stipple madness. Every dot. When you have an open area, like you see a lot of open area here, that's where you put the stipple in. You try to really make it work. We're almost done with this. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this. Like I said, I enjoy doing a good caricature, but I do it the old-fashioned way. I don't make fun of people. I actually take their lives seriously. And it's almost like I want to project their being into their drawing. And I like that. I don't want the person to be embarrassed. I want them to actually enjoy it. Now that I look at this, I could do a little bit of darkness in the arm, and I like that. Fix the bonsai plant a little bit more definition. Every part of the bonsai plant has to be addressed properly, and I think I did a pretty good job. Now, let's do the root. Kind of funny, I'm reminded of what Bob Ross used to do with happy trees. This is not a happy tree, this is a bonsai. I think if there was somebody doing this, he'd be quite upset. All right, we're going to fill in this entire area with stipple. It's pretty much soil, and I don't want to make a big issue out of it. I don't want people to think it's an empty little cavernous place. I'll put a little stipple in there. Give the appearance of soil. A little bit of vertical. That's going to be it, because let's face it, this is behind the bonsai plant. We have to show that. Likewise here, this shirt looks too light. Let's do a little darkness here. Different diagonal. Good. I could do something else. I could actually outline the bonsai plant a little bit too. Make it bounce out a little bit more. I think I'll do that around the entire part of the plant.